Yasas. What happens when you take two vibrant brothers that are descendants from the Greeks in Constantinople, embracing their American roots, and then ask them to serve up rich tales of traditions, cuisine, childhood memories, and a hearty dose of humor? You're about to find out. This is Baklava Banter, your passport to all things Greek. So, I'm thinking about this episode today, and we talked about a number of topics, the two prior episodes, episode 1 and 2 that we did. And I was thinking about a part of our lives where mom decided to go into business. And as you heard me say, I think on one of the other episodes, at some point when you and I were older, she decided to start working. And the work she did is she went to dry cleaners, and she would get the tailoring, replace a button, shorten hem, skirts, and other things by the bag load. And she would do it as piecework. So shorten a pair of pants, $2.50, shorten a skirt, $3, and so forth. And she became very successful doing it. And then we had family friends, and the two of them decided to open up a bridal shop. I want to say it was 1983, because I think that's when 99 Luftballon became a big song.
Yeah, it was in 93, yeah, probably 83.
83. Right.
Yeah.
So she opens up a bridal shop. My father builds this massive table for her. I think it's got to be at least 8x4, wood and metal. And she does that for a few years. I think she and the friend have a falling out. She decides...
They had that falling out on the trip to Florida.
That's true. That's a whole other story when we talk about traveling.
Yeah.
But they had the falling out. She decides to close that shop. We meet somebody who has a chain of dry cleaners. She gets a new location for a place that used to be a real estate office, and then it became a pickup drop-off location for dry cleaning. So she decided to move the tailoring business there, bigger store, and then we outsourced all the dry cleaning. Eventually, it's like, you know what? Why pay somebody else for the dry cleaning? We split the store in half, put in conveyor belt, all state-of-the-art equipment, and we are now in business as Rita's Custom Tailoring. Well, she was in business under that name. A much bigger store. And so at some point, she becomes very popular, right? Our mother has been sewing ever since I think she was 15. Growing up, not a lot of money, growing up in Constantinople. When she and our uncle, her brother, one of her brothers, used to go to, when they were younger, go out to parties. Sometimes, people would throw out clothes because they were out of style, and she would find a dress, take it completely apart, put it back together again in a new design. And everybody thought that, oh my God, where did you get that dress? It's amazing. And she would do it herself. So this was something she's been doing for a long time. So now fast forward, she becomes very popular. Business starts to really explode. And she decides at one point that she's going to start a sewing school. So she puts an advertisement. I forgot what we advertised in the local newspaper, I think, back at the time. So now we're sort of in the mid-'80s, I would say. Bunch of people show up. And my mother's pretty critical, can be pretty critical. She likes things done a certain way, and she's very, very good at what she does. And one of the individuals around that time that shows up is our friend here that we've asked to join us to talk about how she met our mother in the latest episode of
Baklava and Banter. I'm Petraki.
And I'm Soto. And here we go again.
And from Monroe, North Carolina, we have Denise, who is the owner of Denise Custom Tailoring. How you doing, Denise?
How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing good. And look at the sun in my eyes. Woo! It's like I'm riding on the highway. Anyways, so if you listen, Denise never really actually showed up because of an ad in the paper. Denise, why don't you tell her how you ended up getting to the store?
It's kind of crazy, but I've been sewing since I was little, just like your mom. I took it in junior high. I took it in high school. They'd say, get a pattern, change it, help teach the class. So I was working at Kmart, right by your mom's store there. And my dad used to bring his dry cleaning in to Rita. And she says, I cannot find anybody that can sew. I put ads in Spanish paper, nobody answered. And my father said, my daughter sews. She says, you send her to me. Thank God I didn't know who your mom was before that, because I would not have gone. But my dad dropped me off. He said, go in and go talk to Rita. He says, here. And she threw something at me and she said, sew this. And I did. And she watched me. I could feel her eyes burning in the back of my head. And she said, I pay you $5 an hour and I teach you everything. And that was it. It's crazy. But she was the best person.
She paid?
She paid you?
$5 an hour.
She paid you? What the freak?
Huh. Hold on,
She paid you more than minimum wage at the time, too.
I don't know.
I'm going to make a note of that for when we talk to her.
Yeah, I think at the time minimum wage was like $4. She paid you more than minimum. We got nothing. We got chicken. We got chicken chow mein from what was that place? The Chinese place next door. That's what we got. Yeah.
2 doors down.
What was that?
Every day
That's
for lunch. We had a wonton soup, our egg roll, our Diet Coke for $1.25.
Right.
Yeah, what a crazy deal that was. That was like think about it now, you know.
And if you remember, they used to deliver sometimes, even though it was literally 2 doors down. So that's interesting. So that makes sense. It was around the same time that she decided to do the school, because she was looking for people to help. So you come in, and what a perfect description. I can only imagine her staring you down.
She was scary.
And then so then what happens from so then what happens from there?
So she just starts teaching me. And then it starts with the yardstick. You know, with the big table you're talking about. She said, I'd kill you. And she'd chase me around with the yardstick. She'd have cigarettes, remember? Burning. One over by the ironing board, one at the table. Do you remember? I would be like, you're going to burn the place down. Oh, we laughed so much. She said, I'd kill you again. You chase me. Yeah, she was interesting. She was great, though. Best person that ever influenced me in my life. Yes. And it's just like very parallel.
She still chases us.
Right cleaners.
Yeah, she still chases us with that ruler. So
funny.
She's still pretty good with that. Yeah, it's she used to smoke back then.
A lot.
It was smoke and copious amounts of coffee.
Yeah.
I remember at one point she had to scale back because the dry cleaning customers once or twice, some people complained they were very sensitive to the smoke.
Yeah.
And we had a when we put the dry cleaner in, we had a massive fan to get the heat out of the store, and so we used to turn that on. But she was a force to be reckoned with. Part of what happened at the same time is from the time she started doing the work at home that she was getting from the cleaners to when she opened the first business to the second business, a number of things happened. One, her English improved tremendously, even though I think we mentioned in the first episode that at one point she went to class. Mm-hmm. When we were much younger, to learn English. So her English improved, her confidence went through the roof. And again, we talked a number of times about the true essence of what seems to kind of wane these days of immigrants coming over and fully embracing the American dream. Mm-hmm. She's an unstoppable force. And she's been from that time, and I think that's what led to her success. And she didn't suffer fools well. She ended up becoming very good friends with her regular customers, especially businessmen, attorneys, and we're talking about northern New Jersey, right? So we're talking about a lot of affluence. You grew up there, Denise. You know what I'm talking about. And so It was attorneys, it was doctors, and everybody in between. And all those individuals tend to have large personalities. But boy, I'll tell you, if one of them came in and decided that they were going to try to pull something, they were going to try to show that they're the big man on campus, if you will. You only made that mistake once.
Yeah.
And a lot of
them.
times the people that did that the first time eventually end up becoming some of her best customers, not just for dry cleaning, but now they were going out and buying these, they were buying these suits that were either custom made and just ill-fitting or off the rack. And they would bring these suits in where at any given point, she may be working on, or Denise, I think you worked on some of this, $1,500, $2,000 suits and shirts and everything else. And the thing was, there were things she didn't like to do because she thought they were too time-consuming. And maybe that's the stuff she gave you, Denise, like micro-pleated skirts. If she could avoid a micro-pleated skirt, she would avoid it every day of the week and twice on Sunday, because in the amount of time it took her to do that, she could probably shorten 100 men's trousers, pants. And so because she ended up being able to do anything, as the business involved, and I think, Denise, you were there for some of these, customers would come in and ask for things that you wouldn't expect to have a customer, because it was all custom. And there were things she didn't really want to do, but she was all for, her especially the good customers. To this day, and maybe she's stopped now, but I think over the last couple of years, she still had some customers that still came to the house, because no longer a store, she's not in business anymore, that she still does alterations for because they've been customers forever, and she just likes them.
It's crazy.
Just for the people in the Greek community, what is the Greek word for pleat?
I don't know.
Pleaty?
That's
right. That's part of our Greeklish that we were talking about.
I guess.
Like,
I don't know.
Enough, each enough?
Yeah.
She always said, enough, each enough.
Yes. Do you
Oh God, Denise, she's gonna kill you.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. What we need to do is do a follow up. If we can get her on, then we need to do a follow up where it's both Mom and Denise, because that would be epic. That would be like celebrity
now I
time.
understand why she can't take compliments. I would call her and say,
do you have any?
You taking the time to teach me this whole trade? Like, I'm now working like you did. Like, you worked great, like it was yesterday. And she just said, no, you wanted to learn. That's all she said. No. She cuts me off. She doesn't want to hear it.
Well, Denise, she is. We never really talked about this, but I think the part that attracted her to you is that she saw a part of her in you when she was younger.
Yep, crazy.
Yeah. So I think that's what made the relationship, she was trying to guide you when you were younger, where she didn't have that guidance,
Yep. I hope I can pay forward someday.
Yeah.
Didn't have the guidance or grew up, because our grandparents are pretty tough, or grew up in a household where, for one reason or the other, there weren't as much freedom as a teenager, maybe, to be able to do the types of things that that you did, that we did, and so that's a great observation. The other thing too with her is, you've gotta, and my brother and I talk about this all the time, you can't back away from her aggressiveness or sarcasm.
Oh no!
Right, because she will come after you, meaning well, if you know that she's meaning well. And so the fact that you gave it back to her, was huge for
liked
her,
it
because
she loves
it.
She loves it.
The back
she loves it. You have to punch back.
Yep.
You have to punch back.
Right. Do you have any interesting stories with customers coming in, or situations in the store that you got to observe firsthand? I have a couple that I can talk about, but I wanted to get your perspective on it.
Yeah, a lot of times we had in the 80s, it was men's suits and men's suits and men's suits. The whole back row of the store. So when I was working full time doing graphic art after college, she gave me the key to the store. I go in from 6 to 10 and do like all the men's suits. And then she do the jackets, everything by hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, that big table. And I always yelled at her, like, look, what is all this stuff on the table, right? It was this high.
Yeah.
Crazy. But
they were
taking care of the customers, and you were always there.
Yeah, well, and it's funny, it was tough for me because that was still when I was still coming out of my shyness that nobody believes. And she would leave me sometimes at the store by myself. If she went out, or I think a couple of times, remember she went on vacation. And it's like, you watch the store, these people are gonna come and pick things up and so forth. And I hated it, because I was uncomfortable talking to people. But at the same time, it's like, what if I don't know something? What if somebody comes in and yells at me? But I think eventually, now when I think about it in hindsight, one of the things she used to say all the time, and I associate this, when you go to school, whether it's high school or college, and you're learning math, and you're learning, say, algebra, and you're always thinking, when am I ever going to use this? And at some point later in life, something comes up and you go, ooh, I know how to do that. She would always say to me, and it was a quote, I forgot where she got it, we should ask her. She would say, learn this skill, learn to sew, and wear it like vracioli, as a bracelet, a gold bracelet. Because if you're ever hungry and you need money, you can sell the bracelet and get the money. And so her point was, you learn the skill, and if you ever need to use it, you can use it, which is pretty cool that you parlayed it into your actual career, which is very neat. But I think that, but I think from a story perspective, I have two quick ones. One is, so she did a lot of bridal work. And I'm talking about bridal work where somebody would come in. Sometimes they'd have a dress, somebody's grandmother dress, or they'd go and buy one, and they needed it fitted. But there were a number of times, and I remember this one dress that was she created completely from scratch. All the patterns she cut by hand using wax. Yeah, exactly. Using
Every time I do it, I think of your mother. I would see her with the dress and just rip it apart, and I go, "Oh
right.
God!" And now I do it. And I'm
at the seams, right?
And she'd say, "No, wedding dress is very easy."
Yeah, none of that sitting there and taking the stitches out. But she did this one dress completely custom, and it typically required 3 fittings. They come in initially, you fit it. She does the sort of the skeleton of the dress, you come back in, you fit it, and then the final fitting and so forth. And this even had a cape that had red satin on the inside. I think it was a February wedding, and that's why it's white on the outside and red on the inside. So a lot of fittings coming in and out. One of the funniest things that would happen when any type of dresses, somebody would come in for a fitting, they'd go back, she'd say, go into the back, she'd follow them in, door would close. Sometimes literally like 60 seconds after the door would close, it would open back up again. The customer would walk out very hurriedly, kind of sheepish looking down, and my mother would be right behind them yelling something along the lines of, and next time you wear a bra. Because somebody would come in for a fitting, they wouldn't have a bra, she can't fit it, you're out of here. And there was, if you remember, there was a store in Morristown, New Jersey, the Dane shop, right? That was all custom. They made custom corsets and everything else.
The Dane shop on DeHart Street in Morristown.
Thank you very much. Again, we're not sponsored by somebody, but that would be an interesting sponsorship. Yeah. If my mother had $1 for every time I think she referred somebody there, it was hilarious. And then the second story I'll tell, just because I was there and I remember all the interactions, is a woman came in, younger woman, with a bikini. It was a white bikini. And for some reason, I don't know where she got it, it didn't have the interface inside, the stretchy material. And so she said when it would get wet, it would become see-through. So my mother looks at it. So my mother looks at it and she says, listen, I have the material, the sort of the skin tone material on the inside. But she said when they sew these bathing suits, they have a special sewing machine so that it doesn't bunch up because it's elastic. I don't have that machine, but I can try it. Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. So she does it. You look at it and you go, this is awesome. As everything she figured out how to do. Customer comes to pick it up. She's looking at it and she starts picking, well, this doesn't do this, this doesn't do this. And my mother's like, you get one shot of her being nice. Listen, this the machine. I told you I didn't have the machine. I couldn't do it. If you want to, I can do it again. Okay, I'll do it again. Does it again. You look at it again. Looks perfect. Woman comes back, livid. Now my mother's had enough because she's been met twice. She told her already. And so they're going back and forth. I can't believe you do blah, blah, blah. And my mother says to her out loud, I don't think there's anybody else in the store. She said, listen, you probably like it when it gets wet so your boyfriend can see you. And I don't know if she paid the woman back or whatever, and she left. And I'm like, oh, my God. But like I said, she didn't it was a perfect situation of those types of customers where they're like, I'm not coming back again. Wrong thing to tell my mother because she could give to, you know what? She probably gained another 3 for everyone. I mean, you were there. That store at times looked like it was a warehouse for clothing. There was so much stuff. And the fact that you guys, and I'm sure you do it as well now, but I remember customers coming in and she knew something wasn't quite finished, but she was going to play the, somebody's going to come in and she's going to go, oh, all I have to do is I need another half an hour, come back. And out of all those clothes, she could go and pick out that one particular garment for that customer. Before the customer even said, I'm such and such, this is what I brought in, I got you. And it was just off the top of her head. It was amazing. Anyhow, so those are the two kind of stories that made it interesting some days to work down there, to work at the store.
I mean, do you think out of all the time you spent with her, what do you think the greatest lessons you've learned from her were?
Every single thing. Every single thing. I think about it. I did the same as her. Single mom. I did the same as her. All the dry cleaner, putting all those bags in, idled up in the car, piecework. And so it's the same exact, but she taught me. She gave me the opportunity to have options, to be able to leave my husband if I wanted to, and raise my son by myself. Because I always, like you said, this is a gift she gave me that you can't. Nobody can take it from me. I can work as hard as I want, as much as I want. It's awesome. It's just the best thing ever. Yeah. It's just the best thing ever. That's why I thank her all the time. She says, no, you wanted to learn, but I did want to learn. But if she didn't learn in my life,
she'll never take. Yeah, but she'll never take the credit. That's just her. As a hard ass as she is, she's very humbling, in a lot of things.
She said,
at least to you. We still get her asses whipped. This
is we talk about it. We've talked the last two. We've talked the last 2 episodes.
We'll bring her down. Don't worry. Road trip.
Yeah. Road trip. Which is another episode we have to do sometime. Is when we went to San Diego and Palm Springs with my mother. That was a fun trip in the car. Anyhow, I think we talked. We flew into San Diego, but then we drove like 2 hours, I think, into Palm Springs, and it was 118 degrees.
It was hot,
and so it was hot. It was hot, but
hot.
But anyway, plus she had the back problems and other things, and again the fact this is the thing that's amazing, and I think about it in hindsight now with her is. What life, what the culture and everything else that she grew up in, she parlayed that into coming to another country, learning a third language, and becoming as badass, if I can use that term, as you can be. Mm-hmm. And I think that hard shell, warm, gooey center is what continues to drive her forward. You could say, again, she's our mother, so you grew up with her and you're like, why does she do that all the time, right? But I think this is another good example when we talk about at least the Greek community and the way we've experienced it is we talked about coming into, when we travel and somebody understands that you're Greek, but even if you're not Greek, you come into an environment of individuals that see maybe some of themselves or wish they were like that when they grew up. You come in as a xenos, right? You come in as a stranger, and you become about as close to being a part of the family because of that aspect that my brother just talked about, and why she saw you from such an amazing perspective, and then for you to walk away and say, what would my life have been like? Again, you don't want to get too too warm and fuzzy here, but you can. What would my life have been like if I didn't pick up at that time in my life something from someone that somebody just offered me $5 an hour and it seemed like a cool job and she was a crazy lady. But now in hindsight, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I mean,
all I got was a McDLT, so I didn't even get the $5 an hour. But
that's right, because the other side of the store was the McDonald's. Yeah, that
yeah.
was
Yeah.
How
But
old was Irene
just
when we
to
were
kind of
8?
she was 10 years old.
10. Stavros was 8.
10. Yeah.
Wow.
No. Stavros
No.
is older.
Stavros would have been
So
like
he's
12. Or,
12,
10.
yeah.
Yeah,
He was 12.
2 years different.
Because that was 88. The only way I remember that is because McDonald's was running their 1988 Olympic summer Olympic special where you get the little scratch offs, and if the U.S. won gold, you got like a free burger.
Right.
Ate good that summer. But another funny story is when I was getting married, my now wife, they went wedding dress shopping together, and she took her to some wedding. I don't know where we went to Pennsylvania looking for a dress or something like that. And the woman there was like, oh, we're going to fix the dress this way. My mother's like, like, I got this. Don't worry. And the lady's like, well, we're going to she goes, and my mother looks at her and goes, do you know who I am? Like she pulled that card out, and I'm like,
and wasn't the follow-up of the story that Chris, your wife, tells is that, and then she said she was Rita from Rita's Custom Tailoring, and the woman was like, oh, can I take a picture?
Yeah, something like that.
Because they knew her.
Yeah. Because I think what they did, she sent a lot of people there to find wedding dresses.
Right.
Or to get like whatever the veils or all that stuff. But yeah, so it's just kind of funny, that it's not very often that she would play that card, but when she did, like you effed up. So
well, and like I said, she doesn't. Well, for when Dad passed away last year, and I had to buy a suit. Because I hadn't gone to a funeral or anything else. I needed a new suit. So I get the suit. I didn't want to ask her mom to tailor it because she had other things going on. Plus her hands were hurting and everything else. So I ended up going to the cleaners, one of the cleaners that we used to go to that I knew the owners because we used to do their tailoring and so forth. And they had a pretty good tailor. So she shortens the pants, shortens the sleeves. So I get the suit 2 days, I think, prior to the wake. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday. And I forgot where we were, whose house we were at. And so she says, try the suit on. She's like, where'd you get it tailored? And I told her. And she's like, try the suit on. And I put it on, and she doesn't touch the suit. She's sitting probably 5 feet away from me. And she gives that look where she gives you the up and down. And she's like, come here. Yes, ma'am. She comes over, and the first thing she does is she takes the sleeve and turns it inside out. And she's like, ha, 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 ha. She has that little laugh, ha, 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 ha. Okay. Take the suit off. I'm going to fix it. And
Yeah.
she took it home and she shortened it. I mean, she took measurements and she shortened it. And like you said, all by hand. And if you turn the suit inside out, because I had to, because it gets spoiled, and you look at it, you're like, you would think it was done on a machine.
Could have been done by
But
machine.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
done by the Greek machine. But
The Greek
but
machine.
yeah, it's just she's relentless when it comes to that. But I think that's what continues to to drive her.
Were you there, Denise? Were you there when there was that other woman there who had like young kids?
No. I started with her
Okay,
in
it must have been after you
1984.
then.
So
84.
I
You weren't there for
graduated high
84.
school 86. I worked there then after college. So I must have been there at least 4 years.
Yeah, I think the woman. She had to have been there. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about Monroe.
Yeah.
So there was another woman she would give work to on the side, just a few pieces, like the stuff she didn't want to do, like shortening pants and stuff like that, you know? So again, last year with my father's funeral, we ended up going to Men's Warehouse there in Ledgewood.
Right.
And she was the tailor there, and we ran into her.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she's like, what are you guys doing here? And, we're like, we weren't in the mood to mess around, but, in retrospect, I would have told her we're here to check on your tailoring expertise. But
Yeah. Yeah, that was something. That was some adventure for sure. All right, well, it looks like once again we're at time.
Denise, any other final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with anybody?
Nope. She wanted me to get a truck and come and get all of her stuff. She says she has 3,000 zippers. I said, who has 3,000 zippers?
She does, because she wants me to go on eBay and sell them for her.
I thought you were kidding.
Oh, no. She wants to get rid of all of her zippers and her spools of thread.
Oh,
So if you need anything, and I told her, I'm like, what do you want to sell them for? Like, we can sell them for like $2 a piece, which is like, and just bulk sell them, like 50 at a time. But no, she has a lot. Everything's sitting in the garage right now.
Hold on.
I told her I would.
Okay.
It's show and tell time, I think.
Exactly.
I'll bet you most of them look like this.
They all look like that, of course.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to say is.
And she bought everything in the truck, and she's been giving me thread all these years. How many years? 36 years?
Yeah.
She should probably just get rid of it. It's brittle.
I told her that I would take some of that thread. Now, I sew buttons and do things like that, but they're all that size.
Right, where are you going to put them?
I've got to find some place in the house to put them right.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
So,
yeah.
Well, Denise, thanks for coming on with us today. We appreciate it.
I love seeing you guys. It was great.
Great to see you.
Well, you never know. I may be able to mosey on down to. How far are you from? How far are you from? You're close to Charlotte. How far is that from Raleigh, Durham?
I think 3 hours.
Okay. I think December I may be in Raleigh, Durham. I have to check.
Okay, that would be awesome.
I'll bring my 11 herbs and spices, and check out your chickens there.
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say you're going to bring your heavy leather jacket with a broken zipper and see if Denise has the equipment to replace it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, great to see you. It would be fun if we eventually get Mom on to do another show and have Denise and Mom on. Would be a special edition. But
okay, guys. So on behalf of Denise, I'm Petraki,
and I'm
Soto. And this has been another episode of Baklava Banter, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Yes.
Bye-bye.